Okay, so the first things we want to address are cleaning up the let's go ahead and start with cleaning up the tripod. That's going to be like one of the most common things that need to be done. So to do that, the first thing I want to do is if I hit shift space here, is that I can come up with a whole bunch. It's kind of an easy way to find nodes. Okay, so the lat long patcher is going to be kind of one of the useful tools. So you can see here, so this media in, this is essentially the footage coming from the clip. And then we're going to connect a bunch of stuff into this line. And then whatever is on the media out is going to be what the final video, the final composite is going to be. So what this lat long patcher does, so if we drag out of here, we can connect it to this little triangle. And also, so one of the handy things is like if you hover over the little inputs, is it'll tell you what the inputs for that particular node are. So here we've got an input, and then we have an effect mask. Now, if I drag this to the output, what we can now see what's happened is that it's essentially taken out a square view of our 360 image, and it's showing us about a 90-degree view of that image. But if we highlight this and we rotate these sliders, is that we can point this in any direction that we want. So this becomes really useful for doing a lot of the kind of more simple tripod removals. So one of the things I can do is if I can just simply go here, and if I hit 90, is that's going to look straight down. And we can see here, there's a little bit of a monopod tripod that's being viewed inside of the image. So the next thing we can do is, so hit shift space and just type in paint. Let's grab a paint node. And because I had this highlighted when I searched for the next piece, is that it automatically put it in the chain for us. But if I was even clicking out here and I had paint and I added it, I can just connect it by, again, connecting it to the in, and then I can connect this to the out, like so. And, so one of the things I would do, so if we highlight the paint and I hit 1, is that we can see our paint layer here in number 1, and then we can see the final result of the paint here in output 2. So the paint tool for me is has a couple of weird, and it has to do with the icons. I think the icons are sometimes a little confusing. So one of the things that did trip me up when I was first starting doing the brush is that I was using this clone multi-stroke, and I didn't really understand what the multi-stroke means. And really what they mean when they say multi-stroke is that you are every frame would need to be painted on in order for it to work, which for a lot of things with 360, that's not really how we work. So let's just go ahead and restart this. And what you can do is if you just hit, so multi-stroke basically means you're going to paint on every frame. So this is just for regular paint. This is for cloning. And then, but really what we want is we want to keep our paint job consistent throughout the duration of the clip for the most part. It's usually how it works. So you actually need to click on the stroke and then come over here and click on clone. And then you can adjust your brush settings and your softness. And we're just going to do kind of an easy job here. And we're going to paint over where that tripod is. But then now as I scroll through, you can see that it stays intact. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab some stuff here. I'm going to adjust my opacity just a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of try to make that not so noticeable. Generally, my philosophy is with cleaning up footage is that it just shouldn't stick out to the normal passerby. You know, if somebody kind of casually glances at something, hopefully they just don't realize that you've done any cleanup work to it. So now we've got a basic paint layer. It's working through our working for our whole clip. But now we need to just bring this patch back into our regular footage, because if we render this out, if we go back to our edit page here, we see that it's actually just showing us that view of looking down, which is not what our footage looks like. So the other thing we need to do now is we need to use what's called a merge tool. So there is a merge. Let's see, on one of these icons. Let's see, which one is it? It is merge. So I can grab merge here, and if I hold shift, I can disconnect it. But what I want to do is I want to take my original video layer and I want to put that in the background. And then I want to take this paint patch that we just created, and I want to lay that on top. And so the way I do that is I can drag another line from my media in clip, and I'm going to put it into the media in of the merge. So if I push 2, I can put this back into my window here. So we've got our background layer, but there's still, the tripod is still in there. So if we take this part, we can drop this into the top, which brings those layers over top. And then we can merge them back together so that they're back into one video file. Now, the lat long patcher needs to be, this effect needs to be uncorrected. So we need to sort of reverse this patching process. So what we can do is we can just control copy, control paste this, and let's now drag that into our lat long patcher and drop that into our merge. And we're going to change the mode from extract to apply. So if you look here, so now basically what we've done is if we scroll through kind of the different mode of the different stages of our process here. So this was our original footage. And then we extracted a downward looking view from it. And then we painted out that little tripod effect or artifact there. And then we converted that back to the downward facing view and back into the equirectangular warping. And then we've taken all that and we've overlaid this patch on top of this video using a merge node, which gives us this. So this was before, we can see a little bit of the tripod down here, but then in the merge, now it's gone. And now our media out, if we hit 2, also looks nice and clean. Okay, so that handles the bottom, but now we got to handle the top. I hope you're enjoying this preview of my cinematic 360 video post-production class. You can get this tutorial and 5 complete chapters for free by signing up at learn.voyeur.com. The full class includes 10 hours of content covering stereoscopic, 360 video, 180 VR, and more. It's now available at learn.voyeur.com, so go ahead and check it out.